Hi, intuitive viewers. Thanks for coming. I am really excited today because I have a returning guest, actually, Terri Chapman from Terri Chapman Photography. She's a photographer. She is a literal light worker. She works with light. We know that as orbs, but she calls them her light family or non-physical light beings. So welcome, Terri. Hi.
Hi, intuitive viewers. So great to be here again. Thanks so much, Kim. And so happy about the topic that you have chosen.
I'm happy too. We were talking before and I was telling Terri that I was trying to figure out a way to have her back on, but I knew I was kind of waiting for a reason or waiting for something. And we kind of talked before, and coronavirus was kind of in full swing. And I think now that it's kind of it's petering out, I think people are in a mode of kind of assessing loss, assessing what they've lost, whether it is a job, a home, time, people. And recently I was telling you that I have had so many people that have lost pets. And I just think, your pet is probably what got you through all of this. And then there's this loss that is sometimes the hardest loss are our pets, because they're just so always there for us. So to lose a pet it's such a heartbreaking thing. And so the way this came about was I was watching your channel, which I'm obsessed with, by the way. Your YouTube channel is amazing. But I was watching your YouTube video, and your cat Canoodle was there, and you were saying how heartbroken you were about losing your cat Canoodle, and you've had these incredible light interactions with your little pet Canoodle. And so that's what kind of made me think of this being used, this ability to connect with light forms as being used as a way to deal with grief. And to be able to kind of process grief. I've used it in my work. And I've also, when I've talked to people who have lost people, I will send them sometimes videos of their loved one in the light form, because they show up when I say my thank yous after my readings. They'll show up. And so I'll take a little movie and send it to them. And they're absolutely astounded. And sometimes I'll get things back that say, this is really real. It would, like, they talked to them the whole time through me, but until they saw it with their own eyes, no matter how much of a believer they were, seeing it with your own eyes, there is something about that as a human being that it's undeniable at that point. You cannot go back from that. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I really do. I mean, it can be, as I've shared with you, it can be difficult to see your loved one, whether it is a human or a pet, in their true essence of light. That can be a little bit jarring since you've only known them in the physical form. But it is a validation of that your loved one, your beloved pet, has only changed form, not consciousness. Personality is still there, but they are able to reveal themselves as in their true spirit essence. And so to me, that is of great comfort. Now, it's interesting, as I said that, I just had a breeze just go right by me. And for the viewers, I was sharing with Kim that there are 3 individuals that I'm going to be speaking about today, and that they are so present with me. So the breeze across me, they're like, yay, we're going to talk about spirit, because they had been waiting quite some time in order to come through for their grandmother. And, this is about how once you are able to show people the spirit form, it can help people with their grief and to see through different eyes.
Right.
Because, it is about, we all want a visual. I mean, I'm a visual person, so I have to have the visual. Well, let me see it. Let me embrace that energy through the visual. That's how I learn best. That's how I embrace my spirituality, is through my own experiences. And so being able to photograph the non-physical and show other people, well, that gives them a tool to be able to do it in their own life and to then expand upon that. But it's not something that we really talk about.
Right.
We can talk about grief. We can talk about, as people say, the word loss. And this conversation is really about, like, you've got tools at your disposal in order to connect with your loved ones. Whether it is your pet that never spoke English, they can communicate with you very clearly, as well as your loved ones, and they are eager to. They are eager.
Right.
And also, that what I've learned through this coronavirus is that I'm able to connect before the transition. So there are messages and information to be given before a transition. If you are aware that someone is sick or your pet is sick, there are ways that you can get messages to help you also through the inevitable transition,
Oh,
which
wow.
is what happened with Canoodle. I mean,
Oh.
so when my fiance transitioned 11 years ago, I did not have these tools. I started to develop and learn them through my own journey with grief. And now I'm in a position when I do experience a pet that goes back into spirit, that I'm able to utilize those tools to help through the grieving process and shorten the grief time.
Right. Well, and I think, so let me ask you though, because, and people can go back and look at our first video, because that kind of talks about how you got into this and how you kind of got started with working with the light. And, but do you think that, it just occurred to me when you talked about your fiance, do you think that he knew that about you, that you wouldn't believe it until you saw it? And that's why he kind of, because you said, I didn't really feel him around. I didn't, and then you had this experience. So do you think he knew that about you? Like you wouldn't believe it unless you saw it?
What I believe is that he and I had a pre-birth plan. Okay. And that he would make his transition in order to accelerate my mission. Late bloomer in life, but
Me too.
This is the dynamic of what catapulted me to my mission, because I full well know that, I've been doing photography since I was 16. And it wasn't until he transitioned that all of this started to occur.
Right.
Which is no coincidence. He simply was the catalyst. I think that he, marvels at what we have been able to co-create together. Right. That is part of the bigger picture. But I don't think either one of us really could have understood the depths of what has transpired.
Right. So let's get into this, because I think people are going to we're going to kind of give people a step-by-step instructions how to do this, because like I said, a lot of people have suffered a lot of loss this year. And so I just think having something to turn to, some kind of tool to kind of grab onto and begin to heal, I think that's hopefully what we're going to do today. But tell us, share with us your story about Mary and her 3 grandsons, to kind of give an example of the tremendous loss someone can have, and then the joy that they can find through this process.
Well, first, I'd love to tell your viewers that I have received permission from Mary and from her 3 grandsons to share this story. So we are using actual names because this again is part of the bigger picture and to show how we're all connected. So Mary is a subscriber of Kim's channel. She's also a subscriber of my YouTube channel. And she reached out to me and said, do you think that you could help me find some ways to communicate with my 3 grandsons? Well, when you get an email like that, you know, your heart just goes out. My aunt, which was my cousin, she transitioned when she was 12 years old. I understand the depths of grief that happened from a child going back into spirit, which you perceive as not a full life, yet it really is a full life for what that soul has chosen. And so I said to her, absolutely, would love to help you. I said, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is go and purchase a pair of copper dowsing rods. And she didn't question it. She just did it. And I said, I sent her to a site and I said, let me know when you have received them. So when she received them, I said, let's get on Zoom and I'm going to show you how to utilize them. And she wrote me back and she said, I really don't use Zoom. And I said, well, okay, then I'll create a video for you. And I thought, okay, well, this is going to be an adventure. Like I'm going to be like tutorial, which was something new. And so I said, okay, I only want to know the names of your grandsons. I didn't want to know anything else about them. So Seth transitioned first, and then Ryan, and then Casey. So Mary's 2 daughters, Seth and Ryan, were brothers. And then Casey was from the other daughter. So that's 3. So they, yeah. So when I went to do the tutorial, it was like an hour. I worked with my dowsing rods. I worked with my oracle cards, and literally nothing recorded.
Oh my gosh.
And I was so frustrated because I thought it was so beautiful, right? And
Yes.
I had to take a step back. And what her grandson said is that, no, this experience was for us to tell you what we want you to know about our grandmother, but not what we want to tell our grandmother.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, wow, that was completely different. So I said, okay, let's do it again. Right. So the first thing I did when I started the tutorial, which Kim and I just had our brief experience with this. So yes. These are my copper dowsing rods. And so when I asked Seth if he wanted me to light a candle while we were working together, Seth, can you show the viewers what you did? Oh, they're going to repeat this, Kim.
Oh, gosh.
They're going to repeat exactly what happened when you and I just did it. This is fascinating. Right. Oh my gosh, I've got full body chills. I can't even tell you. Okay. So look at how deliberate this is to show you.
It's amazing.
Okay, so what this means, 1 rod to Kim and 1 rod to me. Seth is saying we are one.
Right.
So the first time I ever picked up a pair of dowsing rods, that's why Seth knew how absolutely important,
oh my gosh.
important this message was. The first time I ever picked up a pair of dowsing rods, my mother and my brother were in my backyard with me. And my brother said to me, let's do an experiment. I'm going to hold the dowsing rods and we're going to stand in front of a Jesus statue that I had in the backyard, which was a gift from my brother. So my brother took the rods first. Nothing happened. My mother took the dowsing rods next. Nothing happened. And when I picked up the dowsing rods, this is exactly what happened. 1 rod to the Jesus statue, 1 rod back to me. And what's important about this is that it's the right rod that is pointed towards me, and the light will only work with my right hand. They will not be received on my left hand. Don't ask me why, because I really don't know the answer to that at this point. It's still a learning process for me. But that's why Seth was just showing that the left rod is towards Kim and the right is towards me. So it's not that Jesus was saying in that first experience that my brother and my mother were not one with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
What it was is that this is your journey. This is what your focus is, to connect with spirit, not your brother, not your mother. This is what we're going to show you through the rods, that you can use the rods to communicate. Okay. So Seth, do you want to show us what a yes looks like? Okay, so 2 rods.
Oh my gosh.
So 2 rods over is a yes. Thank you, Seth. Can you please, Seth, show us what a no looks like? What does a no look like?
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to go all the way to the side, or is this the way you want to show us? So generally, oh my God, he's going to show us again where 1. See, this is the first thing he did. This is the first connection he made with me. Okay, can you show us, Seth, what a big yes means? If spirit wants to really show a big yes, what does that look like? What does a yes, a big yes look like? This is interesting. Okay, that's a no. What does a big yes look like? Yeah, see how the energy is very slow and very deliberate?
Yes.
And
oh wow, big yes.
okay, this is generally a maybe. This is generally a maybe when I get it from spirit. See how the rods are like this, because this is something that they've recently been doing. 1 rod, right, in one direction, 1 in the other, which is a perception. It can be one way or the other. Spirit can say it's not clear, so there's no definitive. Seth, can you show us what a big yes is, though? Still not what I normally would. Okay, so let's try it last time. Yeah, see, there you go. That's a big yes. All the way back and pointing towards me is a big yes.
Okay.
So these are one of my tools.
Okay.
Okay. So when I was working with Mary's grandson, so I used the dowsing rods, and they each wanted a candle. So Seth picked a rainbow, and Ryan, when I asked him, he did 1 rod to the purple candle, and he pointed 1 rod to the camera and saying, I want you to light the purple candle for my grandmother.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, okay. And then Casey, when I asked Casey, he picked blue, which is each candle is a chakra. So Seth picked the full chakra candle. And so Ryan picked the purple, Casey picked the blue. The blue is the throat chakra.
Right.
Okay. So then the next thing I did is I lit the candles, and I said, okay, let's pick a card. So how I use the dowsing rods for this, and what I have over 40 oracle decks. And so they're on different shelves. So I will say to spirit, instead of me picking the oracle card deck to work with to get the message, I will say to Spirit, you pick the deck. So what I will do is I will say, is the message you wish to give to Mary, let's use for Mary, is that deck, can it be found on the first shelf? The answer is no.
Okay.
Is that message on the second shelf? Can I find the message on the second shelf? And it'll still be a no. Is that message on the third shelf? And the answer is yes. That the answer, the message is going to be found on the third shelf. So then I will put the rods to the third shelf.
Mm-hmm.
They will point with both rods to the deck they want to use. And then what I do is I say, okay, what's your favorite number? And we're going to pick what your favorite number is. And then that tells me that I'm going to shuffle. And then I'm going to shuffle on their favorite number and pick the top card. So for Seth, when I asked him for a message, he wanted to use the Druid Plant Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
And the card that he selected was the poppy card. And it had 3 poppies on it.
Gosh.
And I was like, well, I felt that those were representing Seth, Ryan, and Casey.
Right.
And that poppies, whether they are in the ground or they're a cut flower, they don't last long.
Right.
Right. But that they can reseed in the ground and bloom again year after year. Right. So that their bloom continues on. And so that was the message that I felt that Seth was giving. So when it came to Ryan, I said to him, what number? And he picked number 8. And the card that he gave for his grandmother was New Beginnings. Mm-hmm. And it was a phoenix coming out of the flames. And the phoenix was, the bird was a rainbow. And that was so much of the message that the boys wanted to give, is that this is a new chapter.
Right.
And that she is going to rise out of the flames of her grief. And it's going to be a chapter. Right. So I thought that was awesome. The reading continued. That night, I turned my camera on and I said, would you like to come forward and shine your light so that your grandmother can see your light? And Ryan came in as a purple light being.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just so exciting to me. So I reached out to Mary. I gave her all the videos that I had put together. And I said, do you have any idea why Ryan picked? And she goes, I have no idea. So I asked Ryan, like, what do you want to tell us through the color purple? And so he picked this oracle card. I went through the whole thing again with the dowsing rods. This is the oracle card he picked, which is all purple with a purple angel. And there are 8 purple crocuses coming out of the earth. That was the number that he had picked. Mm-hmm. And the card says the big picture.
Oh, wow.
Right? So I was like, okay, that's really awesome. And then Mary said, well, you have no idea what the poppy card meant that Seth gave, because when right after Ryan transitioned, she was out walking in the woods and she came upon 2 poppies blooming together, and she photographed it and she said, thank you, Seth. I know that was a sign that Ryan is now with you.
Oh my gosh.
And Seth gave the poppy card that had 3 blooms to say, we're all together now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so So based on that, I said to Mary, now can you tell me more about your boys? Well, she sent me a photograph of Ryan as a young boy holding a dog. Okay, this was her dog. So the minute I looked at it, I was like, oh, the journey continues here. Because in the right-hand corner of the image, she had taken her cell phone, she had photographed the picture of Ryan that was in her home.
Right.
And spirit shape shifted that photograph. Now, I knew that the minute I looked at it, but I wanted Mary to see it for herself. So I said, did you notice the purple blue figures in the corner of the picture? And she wrote back and she says, oh my God, there's two boys. And I said, exactly. They had used the colors and the energy and created this square in the corner of the picture with their images.
Oh my gosh.
And I have seen that before with a picture. Somebody used their cell phone to take a picture of me when I was a child. And when they sent it to me, there were things contained in my picture that I received that was not in their original picture. And that's exactly what happened with Mary. So like, we were just giddy about this, completely over the moon to experience this together. So my brother, who can hear and see spirit, I had to show him the picture. And I'm like, look at this. Like, what do you see? What is your impression? And darn if he didn't say, well, the person whose photo this belongs to, her name begins with an M. And it is her mother that is coming through and saying to her, I'm working behind the scenes to help make this happen. And that her energy is also contained in that picture. And that she is giving her daughter yellow daisies and asking her to be happy. And I was like, what? And so that was another layer. So then I reach out to Mary and give her this information. And she goes, well, she said, you know, my wedding bouquet was daisies. And in high school, I had a favorite dress that had daisies with daisy trim.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, you can't make this up. No. I mean, it's like literally how things intersect. So that night I asked her mother if she wanted to come forward and shine her light. And her mother came forward as a yellow ball of light.
Oh my gosh.
And then Ryan said, I want to come in too. When I said, Ryan, do you want to come in? And he comes zooming in the room with great joy in order to share with Mary. And it was all these different layers where everything just intersected in order to help Mary see a different perspective of what has happened in her life. And I know that Mary is now regularly using her dowsing rods and her oracle cards in order to communicate with her grandsons and her mother. I mean, so it became just a little bit of expanding the consciousness to say this is what's possible, and the empowerment I believe that people feel by having their own connection. And it's not through me. I'm just the conduit to get them started.
Right.
Because they can do this themselves in order to have any type of conversation, to ask questions. You know, some people do automatic writing, some people meditate or do a combination. For me, it's really the dowsing rods, it's the oracle cards, it's using my camera to photograph the light. Those are my tools. And so people can have access to that. They can use pendulums, they can do, you know, ruins, whatever works for them. Right. But it is finding a way to have your new connection. And
Right.
spirit is eager to make that connection.
Mm-hmm.
They so, and a lot of people don't even think about animals because they didn't speak English.
Right.
Right? But I'm telling you, animals, their consciousness, they have such a high consciousness. They literally are actively speaking. And so it is possible to access them before and after the transition, especially if your animal is going through a prolonged illness, and you are preparing or going through treatment. There is ways to communicate again in order to feel comfortable with whatever decision you're making along the way.
Right.
Right. And so that's really what kind of happened with Canoodle. Because he did have a prolonged illness that I really thought was treatable. And it ended up that no treatment worked. And it was just kind of like the inevitable. And I said to him through the oracle cards, what do you want me to know? And the first card that he gave me was a card that was all colored in pink. And it was a woman embracing a swan with the ghostly figure of a man beside her. And the words on the card were open your heart. Now, when I looked at that oracle card, I thought that it meant that Ken, my Ken, would be there to greet Canoodle when he did go back into spirit form, because Ken would always buy me swan figurines as a symbol of love.
Right.
And so on this card, the woman is embracing the swan with a ghostly male figure. So that was my interpretation. And then the second card Canoodle gave to me when I asked, it was from my Lord Ganesha deck. So Lord Ganesha is the elephant Hindu god. And so he's sitting on the back of a peacock, and the words on that particular oracle card were healing. And so my interpretation was that there was not physical healing in this lifetime, but there was healing in the spirit form. That once he went into spirit, the healing would take place.
Right.
So that did provide me with comfort. When I went to the vet and it was time for Canoodle, they took him back into the room in order to put a central line in his front paw. And when they brought him back in, Kim, all I could do was smile. They had wrapped him in a blanket adorned with peacocks.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And they had wrapped the catheter, the central line, in a pink bandage with red hearts.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, no, the healing started right there.
Right, right.
That it was the right time. He was ready. And it was the fact that those cards were given days before. And those were the signs that spirit gave to me to say, it's okay.
Right.
Right. So we view life in a linear form. And yet, as Ryan showed us through the purple card, there's a bigger picture.
Right.
There's a bigger picture that we can't even comprehend. And so they are able to give us things before, during, and after to help us, because that is what spirit is trying to communicate with us, is there is nothing lost. It is simply changed. It's different. And now you have to find a different way to connect.
Exactly. And I think that, people, they feel like they have to have some sort of developed ability to be able to connect. And this is really using tools and kind of, you can discuss, kind of the process of beginning, but so much of it has to do with just wanting to connect, having that desire to connect, and have that that intention of wanting that that conversation to begin. So now you say to, you told Mary to start with the dowsing rods. Is that what you'd say to everyone? Is that what just for her? Or would you say that's a good place to begin?
I personally love dowsing rods.
Right.
There are people who love pendulums. It's not a tool that I resonate with.
Mm-hmm.
It's the dowsing rods, because the dowsing rods, when you have them in each hand, you can literally, as you saw, you can feel the energy.
Right.
And you're going to get to know the energy. Now, Seth's energy when he was doing the demonstration was very slow, very, very deliberate. It's normally not like that. For me, my experience generally with my light family is much more fluid, flowy, because I have a connection. I've got a relationship. I'm familiar with it.
Right.
So you can feel that through the rods. And to me, that's important for me, because it's another layer of experiencing how they're using the tool through you. You're touching what they're working through.
Right.
So to me, that's so personal. So yeah, to me, because you're going to be able to have a fluid conversation with the dowsing rods, which you wouldn't necessarily have with the oracle cards, because you're going to be shuffling, you're going to be, picking that, you're going to be interpreting through the picture, but you can literally sit in your chair in your living room with the dowsing rods and have an entire conversation. You can ask questions and feel like you are speaking a different language.
Right.
And so to me, that was my first step, was the dowsing rods. And so, yeah, I would highly recommend it. There's only a few people that I know that have not been able to use dowsing rods. Nothing's happened. I don't know why that is, because energy flows through us.
Right. Right.
So I'm not quite sure, but I would definitely ask people to, if they want the connection, is to start with the dowsing rods. And as you say, intention is everything. You are co-creating with spirit with every thought. So it's not something that's isolated. It's they understand your heart in a way that they didn't while they were in physical form. Now they see you through completely different eyes.
Right.
They are with you more than they ever were with you. One of the things is when I sit at my computer and I work on my videos for my YouTube channel, whoever I'm working on that video, whoever was the subject matter, they are with me. They are always to the right of me. That's one thing I've learned, in order to see themselves through my eyes, through the camera, because my experience, they are seeing themselves through my experience.
Right. Right.
Right. So that's a growing process for them too.
Right.
That's something new for them. And so you're constantly growing together and learning through this connection. And, the first time that Canoodle ever came to me, right after he transitioned that night, he was an orange and white cat. He came as an orange ball of light, so that there was no doubt
right.
that it was him. There was no doubt. And so to know that your cat can do that, right? It's like, okay, you're such a bright spirit. You're just so awesome. And like, he has been around me constantly. And it's just such a joy, because my grief was minimal. Knowing he's absolutely fine. Right. So while I would prefer he to be here in physical form, to know that he can visit and I can see him, as is on my YouTube channel, the magical spirit of my kitty Canoodle. He came in the minute I said his name. When I said, oh, Canoodle would have loved this toy if he was here. And here comes this light right in and does a loop-de-loop to
Right.
say, yep, I would have loved that toy, to play with that toy if I was here. And then came forward in such a magical way at 5:33 in the morning, knowing that 33 is my magical number. And, again, that's pure consciousness.
Right.
That he came in at the appointed time so that he knew that I knew
Right.
how much that would mean.
Right.
And so I couldn't ask for anything more. It was a great comfort and a great joy. And that really is, Kim, what Spirit wants. They want us to be in joy. They want us to be in joy. They do not want us. And look, I do not poo-poo anybody's grief. I do not negate it. It's a very difficult journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so unique and different for every single person. And it is something to be, honored and acknowledged, because people get stuck. People get stuck. And what Spirit wants is for us not to be stuck.
Right.
Truly. And that is a change in the way we think in order to make it happen.
Well, and so often if I do a reading, the first question people always have is my loved one okay? Are they okay? That's always what they want to know. They don't want that there isn't anything. So I feel like that's the next step. If I can't have them here physically, at least let me know they're okay. And so that confirmation of, not only am I okay, but I'm better than you. I'm better than I've ever been, because I feel great and I can go anywhere. I can be with you. I can, be with Spirit, with God, whatever you want to say. That it's like they have such freedom and you're able to share that. And I think there's such joy in that for them as well. And they're so willing to communicate. They want you to know. It's not like they're hiding from you and they're like, okay, this is the big mystery now. Death is the big mystery, so we can't spoil it. No, they want to connect with you and let you know, I'm good, so you can go on and be good too. There's a real gift in that, I think, from your loved ones when you have it.
Absolutely. It's like when Mary reached out to me and she said, do you think that you could photograph my grandsons? And I'm like, well, why don't you ask them to do it for you? Like, pick up your cell phone. Everybody can use their cell phone, right? I use generally an older model cell phone because the flash is not so bright, because the flash is going to dim the light of the light.
Right.
So I said, pick up your cell phone, and let me just use this as an example. Okay, so this is my cell phone, but I ask people, turn it this way.
Yes.
Turn it this way when you're doing your photography, okay? So that you have a bigger view. And then you have to have the flash on in order to capture the light.
Right, that light,
And I said, ask.
Right.
So when she literally asked each grandson to come forward, they came forward.
Right.
And again, great empowerment that you don't need me. I'm simply saying, try it yourself and see what the results are, because I knew that they would come through for her. I mean, eager to be seen, eager to provide comfort.
Right.
Oh my gosh, Spirit wants you to be comforted. And they don't want you to view them as gone or lost or dead, or they're very much alive. And so use the tools. You are going to find your own method as well, because it's not just when you use these tools, they may be showing you something else. Now, with my dowsing rods, they will literally point to objects in my home to convey messages. They will do that for you as well. You're going to have to figure out what that means, or know right off the bat what it means. But part of that is the magic of discovery of what your loved one wants to say to you.
And it also conveys that personal connection you have to them. So you're right. It is going to be personal to you. It's not going to be, when they start doing it themselves, it's not going to be what is personal for Terri or for Kim. It's going to be for them
Yeah.
personally. And that's what makes it so special as well.
And the thing is, Kim, is like, absolutely, when Ken transitioned, the first thing is like, where did you go? What are you doing?
Right.
Okay. Because we never had that conversation about him leaving because he was so sick, but he thought he was going to get better. And I didn't want to take his hope away. So when he did transition, I felt like I had no answers. And I also felt like I didn't have a way to get them without contacting a medium. And I really didn't want to connect with a medium because I didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
It was too painful to talk about. So if you can ask the questions yourself and get answers, and then to feel that those feel right, then there's great peace in that.
Right.
Truly, is to feel that energy and know that your loved one is saying, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. And so I highly encourage whatever people are comfortable with is investing in really good tools and practicing, because the more you practice whatever your divination tools are, the more you work with them, the better you are, and the better you're able to understand what spirit is saying. And it will expand beyond your loved ones, because then you can start like saying, well, who's my spirit guide? Or can I connect with an angel? Can I connect with Jesus? Can I connect with Mother Mary? Absolutely. There are no boundaries. Like, we think there's boundaries because, like, well, why would Jesus want to talk to me? Or what did Jesus have to say? I mean, like, honestly, there are no limits. So what do you want to know, and who do you want to connect with? And like, before we started recording this, I was telling you about the gorilla from the Cincinnati Zoo that came to me along with Coco the gorilla. And so that video I'm going to be posting shortly on my YouTube channel. But again, did I think two gorillas like that are no longer in earthly form would join together to show me an experience? Well, no, but I had an intention for the one gorilla, and the fact that Coco decided that she was going to come in and say, well, wait a minute, if you're photographing him, I'm going to come in. That is powerful, because then it expands your consciousness of what is possible.
Exactly.
You don't have to know someone in this lifetime, because Princess Diana comes to me, George Floyd came to me recently, David Bowie, Audrey Hepburn. You can have these experiences because in the light, there is no separation.
Right.
They are not the untouchable that they were when they were here in physical form. They are now a consciousness that you can access if you ask permission and say, would you like to, speak with me? Would you like to share some information? Would you like to help me on my own journey? And if the answer is yes, if you get an answer of a yes, then have the conversation. What do you want to know?
Right. Well, and so that's what I want to ask you about too, is so you have your tools, you have your dowsing rods, you have your camera. And so you think, okay, well, tonight I want to talk to my father. So how would you prepare for that during the day? What would you be asking? What would you be thinking about? What is the preparation that takes place before you have these interactions? And do you always do it in the evening? Is that always your go-to?
I do it in the evening because the light appears, the color of the light appears better at night when it's darker. Yet I have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel of that first thing in the morning. Like when I wake up, you know, is there something that you can help me to start my day? There was one morning that I woke up and I just have felt like I wasn't inspired. Like, could you show me something to help with inspiration? What would you like me to see in order to be inspired? And that is a video that organically happened.
Right.
I am not a big person, to be honest with you, about a lot of preparation, because to me, I am constantly talking in my head to the non-physical. And see, for me, I will tell people your loved one is like literally a thought away. You think them that there. So if your intention is to have an experience, what would make you feel good about co-creating that experience? For me, I love to light candles, right? Because there is an attraction, there isn't an energy when you light a colored candle and it's burning in the room. May not always be visible on my film, but I generally do have one. And then I stand in my room and I say, okay, this is what I would love to experience. What would that look like for you? So in other words, like, I would love to see you, Dad, but I'm not going to put any guardrails on what it looks like, how it happens, like, come in and what would you like to share with me? And let it unfold. And, you know, there's some times where nothing happens. I will tell you, there will be nothing. And why is that? Is because Spirit is like, could you rest? You really need to rest. I mean, this is a message within itself. If nothing happens, it doesn't mean that Spirit does not want to connect with you. It means that they are also trying to ensure your well-being. If you're not resting enough, you're not taking care enough, you're not, I will even ask them, Kim, to be honest with you, if I don't know what to eat, what would be best for me, I will use my napkin rods and say, I will line up my dinner choices, say which would benefit me most, and they will tell me. They will tell me. I mean, okay, maybe that's not the best way to connect with Spirit, but I'm like, if I'm at a loss. And also one of the things too, for the pet lovers out there, is that my particular veterinarian who I adored, he is now in the light, and I call upon him as the non-physical veterinarian to please support me in healing with my animals and what would be for their highest good. And so I have conversations in order to ask about, you know, should I try this? Should I try this vet? Should I go with this? I mean, to ask for assistance. So tap into, you know, the non-physical in their lifetime, whether it's a veterinarian, whether it's your primary physician. I mean, access that relationship to help you now.
And they want to do it. I mean, that's the thing, is that they don't have any, it's not like they're hiding from you. It's not like they don't want you to connect with them, or they're busy. They're too busy. If they're too busy, they won't show up. That's that, you know. But they usually want to connect with you, and they want to have these experiences as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so again, this is where the more that you experiment, you can see what the possibilities are. As to how you can work with all different types of beings and entities that you're curious about. It doesn't have to be just your immediate. And I think that during this time, when there's so much uncertainty, people have questions about many different things. And they're having a hard time feeling good about where the truth lies. Well, you are your greatest truth barometer.
Right.
And so if you want to use the oracle cards and the dowsing rods to get clarity on a topic, I think that's important too.
Yeah.
You know?
And can you imagine the healing that would take place for somebody who, for instance, did not have a chance to say goodbye to someone, or their last conversation was a negative one and they want to connect one more time? I mean, the healing that could take place, or the beginning of the healing that could take place for something like that, this is a perfect way to do that, don't you think?
Absolutely. I had a colleague who one of her best friends transitioned from COVID, and he was in the hospital for about a month, and people were not able to see him, and it was devastating. It was devastating. And so when we picked an oracle card, when he had a message, it was a rainbow. That was his message, was a rainbow. And then after I did this reading with her, and I go outside, and literally there is a rainbow in the sky. And I photograph the rainbow, and it's like a bright sunny day. And I photograph the rainbow and I text it to her and say, he's saying thank you, and I'm here, I'm fine.
Right, right.
So it literally, she wasn't able to say goodbye in person, yet through the connection of the oracle cards and then through a photograph, there is a lightening of the heart that you didn't have to be present in order to say goodbye, because there really is no goodbye. But as humans, we're so guilt-ridden.
Yes.
Right. We feel we just dog ourselves by, we didn't do this, or we couldn't do that, or did we make a right decision? Did we give the right medicine? Did the doctor do this right? I mean, we plague ourselves with the what ifs and the what shoulds, and bog ourselves down. And, you know, that's the humanness, but we can have answers to those questions in new ways that we didn't before.
Right.
Right. I mean, because I don't think that 10 years ago, this was as acceptable as it is now. Now you go on YouTube, and how many like oracle card readers, tarot card readers, like mediums, everybody's got a YouTube channel in order to speak on what they specialize in. And so it's choice.
Yeah.
There's so much choice.
Yeah.
And so here again, that choice is expanding our horizons.
Right.
And I do believe, and I know you know this, that we are manifesting so quickly now by what we're thinking, and things are like popping and clicking and connecting.
Right.
Much sooner than it was before. So as our vibration increases and accelerates, you're just going to have more involved experiences with spirit.
Yeah, exactly. It does feel like it's just time. It's time for this to happen. There's something happening here where we're connected, and we're getting connected with spirit in a completely different way, just a more, I guess for us, a more real way in a sense, because of the new technology, and it will just, like you said, it will just keep accelerating. It will just keep going.
It will, because I think, like you said, I feel that there's so much more that's going to unfold that we can't even predict. I mean, did we even predict? Like, we all knew, and I think the community, that there was a global event that was going to take place. We didn't know what it looked like, but we knew it was coming. We just felt it, that intuition. We felt it. I feel it now. There is something else coming. This is not over, as far as we all go back to whatever it is we think we're going back.
Right.
No. And so it's like, to me, I had said to my friend, if I didn't have the tools that I do now, I don't think I would have fared as well.
Right.
through this time.
Right.
If I just look or relied on the 3D reality, it would have taken me down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally to have my own connection with spirit, ask my own questions, have my own experiences to keep me centered, to keep my own truth in check.
Right.
That is key. That is key, because I think it's only going to get wilder and more varied as what we're going to experience. And so now's really the time to make that connection, so that when you are wavering and doubting and wondering what the heck, it's spirit coming in with bigger picture, right? Bigger picture. We're in this together. You're not alone. That's a huge message. Never alone. And also, as hard as it is, which is Jesus's message to me 90% of the time, is you need to find joy in your life, in the situations, hard or good. When I say good, when you're feeling good, when you're not feeling so good.
Right.
You can have joy in both. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. And that's where we have to retrain our minds, because we have a tendency to go down the darker road first.
Right.
And it's a matter of, show me the magic when I'm not feeling good.
Right. Well, and that kind of leads into kind of the last little bit that I want to ask you about, which is the video on your channel. What is your channel? Is it Terri Chapman Photography? Is that what the channel is? Okay,
Yes.
so people have to look up this YouTube channel, because like I said, I'm kind of obsessed with it. But there's a video that you took the day before Easter Eve, and you are filming a tree, and the light of Jesus comes down and is in your hand for, I don't know how long, a long time. And you're asking, what do I need to do? Am I doing okay? That kind of stuff. And you said that the answer keeps coming. You need to have more joy. You need to have joy. But also I want to know, just as a viewer, what did it feel like? What did the energy feel like in your hand?
So I'm going to back up just a second,
Yeah.
just to give a little more context, because when Ken transitioned, I planted a redwood tree in a pot in my backyard. So on this Easter Eve, as this tree has grown over the years, I was very wistful about it was another holiday without him. And as I am photographing the tree, the light of Jesus, and again, Jesus in my experience is an energy, a light form. He descends down over the tree and starts spinning around, and he is a rainbow color. So he's morphing. And if you watch the video, he keeps going this way to the right, which was his way of saying, go right, so that when I was filming, I was actually in the middle of the yard, because while he is spinning rapidly as a rainbow colored energy and light in my backyard, archangels are sparking and flashing around him. Oh, see, I just got full body chills when I said that. And knowing that the light will use my right hand, I extended my right hand to him, and he changes color completely when he comes on my hand, because he's mixing with my energy, and he becomes like a green, like healing blue energy, right? His signature color with me is either rainbow or indigo blue. I radiate green energy. If I feel myself close, it's usually like a green energy. So when we mixed energy together, he changed color to melt when he melded with my energy. When the light is with me, to be honest with you, I'm in photographer mode. I am trying to capture what the experience is so that I can share it. So I don't necessarily feel at that moment. It is when the experience is over and they stay with me that
Mm-hmm.
generally the experience begins on a personal level.
Right.
So in that experience, I cried for days. After the camera was off, I cried for days. And the same thing that happened when Mother Mary first came to me, because she came like lightning. Her energy was so fast, it just whipped in front of me. And it was like just a pink, blue, pink, green, and white energy. And her light, it literally had a ripple to it. And the same thing is that I cried for days afterwards because the love is so immense. It's not truly when people talk like near-death experiences, right? And they talk about how they go into the light and they feel this love that they've never felt on earth. That is it.
Right.
And to be able to have that and not have a near death, thank you,
Yes.
is so it's beyond words that
Right.
you can feel that and still be alive and present is immeasurable. I'm eternally grateful to be able to have that experience, but it is pure love,
Right.
pure love. And the fact that when you experience Mother Mary, she has this grace and ease and love. Jesus has this humor. He is all about fun and humor and joy. And you can see that in the videos if you really study
Oh
them.
yeah. Yeah.
That is the what I would like people to know is don't keep the videos of your loved ones on your cell phone. Use your computer, download the videos, go frame by frame and watch your loved ones frame by frame, because you are going to miss a lot of detail if you just watch it on your cell phone.
Right.
That's why I do on my videos, I do slow motion portions so that you can see the light in slow motion. And I also do the still images because your eyes can deceive you
Right.
as all the other things that are happening in the room at the same time that you're going to miss. So invest in some software, some video software, so that you can go frame by frame and you can create your own archive, because you're going to start to see similarities. And again, you know, that's part of what you're going to learn about spirit is there may be a signature color for a particular entity that comes to you or an angel. Like for me, Archangel Ariel, magenta. That is her signature color. So, and how did I learn that? Is by archiving. And every time magenta came in, Ariel. And so it's the same thing. If you really want to get more involved and have more answers, is use your computer, not just your phone, in order to really go through what your light experiences are.
That's a great
People are
suggestion.
going to start having their own YouTube platforms.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you go on YouTube right now, Kim, like you can't find light videos.
I know there just aren't that many.
No, you can find one-offs of, you know, somebody with like an orb coming in a room or
security camera, a lot of security camera things.
Yeah, but you don't see like people actually with experience and intention and then sharing what transpires.
Right.
And so it's like, I think the more that people do that, it expands everybody to say like, oh my God, okay. And like Archangel Raphael, when he comes to my girlfriend, he's in a completely different color than when he comes to me. Well, why? Because our energy is different. So we're going to be able to see when people start sharing their own things of how the light, what their experience is with them.
Right.
It's not going to be
again, personal.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, so again, I encourage people to go out there, get the dowsing rods, the pendulum, whatever, you know, speaks to them first, and connect with who they want to connect with.
Right. Well, how exciting, Terri. I can't wait to hear. Now, if people want to connect with you or ask you questions, can they do that?
They can. I've got the information on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
They can connect with me.
And we'll have the YouTube channel below so they can click on that and go there and do that. And so lastly, I just want to do just a treat at the end. Do you think that you can have spirit through your dowsing rods pick a card for us?
Oh yeah.
As we start this journey, all of us kind of start this journey with the light. Can you ask for a card?
Okay, so but I have to walk away.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so I've got to
walk
away
and that's all right.
The deck. Okay, I'll be right
back.
That's
fine. That's fine.
Okay, I'm not surprised.
Okay.
This is a fairly new deck for me, and it's the Shaman's Dream.
Oh, beautiful.
And this is the second half of the original that was done, was the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck. And so in our own ways, we're our own little shamans. I'm not surprised. All right. So what I do is I hold the oracle cards to my heart.
Okay.
And I will ask spirit. My favorite number is 7. So okay. I will ask spirit for, as I shuffle on 7, that they are going to give me the card. So this is going to be the universal message for everyone that is watching. No matter what time you watch, this is the universal message that spirit would like to give us. And I got full body chills as I said that. So spirit, what is it that you would like to tell us through the Shaman's Dream Oracle cards? What is it that you would like to tell us? Unless you give me a jumper, we're going to go top card on 7, spirit. And in this case, I got a jumper.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go with the chills again. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Okay. Eyes of the eagle rising above the fray.
Oh wow.
Now, when I look at this card, what's relevant about this card is the eagle, right? His lens in his eye.
Yes.
Sees spirit from a higher perspective, life from a higher perspective. And everything that we're talking about right now is about through our own lens of perception.
Right.
And how we interpret life is through those lenses, whether it's the lens on a camera, the lens of our eyes, the lens on an oracle card. It is about our perception, and we have the ability to control that perception through these lenses.
Right.
And of course, it doesn't surprise me that spirit would pick a bird card, right? With a bird on it for me, and lens, which is so connected with photography. But again, this is about seeing higher and differently than ever before.
Right.
Right. Don't get into the fray and the muck of the 3D.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing.
Go higher.
Yeah.
Go higher.
That's amazing. That's a perfect message, of course, to end on. Thank you, Terri, so much for coming. And I hope people check out your channel and start their own journey, because it is such an amazing gift we have from spirit right now to be able to connect in such a unique way.
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share. It was really different than our first interview.
Yeah.
A lot of different thoughts and things that we covered here, but to everyone that's going through grief right now, I send you love and blessings. Truly, I say that on all my videos at the end. I send out love and blessings because thoughts and words are energy that can shift and change our world. And so let's all join together in that as we move through this time, because I think we're in for the long haul.
Yes.
But let's send love and blessings out there as you go through grief. Whatever we're grieving, we're all in this together. We're all connected as one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Terri. Thank you
Thanks so
so
much,
much. And
Kim.
thanks, intuitive viewers. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Take care.